on the West Her Hotline. I mean, Sal, one thing I said yesterday on postgame was that it hit me how quiet it seemed, like almost from the beginning of this game. You were there. Did it strike you just how, I don't know, maybe dead the crowd was?
Yeah, I guess because it's early season. The Jets fan base was pretty fired up after last week and at least giving a little hope. But honestly, Mike, like after the first series, 3-0 by the Bills, I mean, we've been through that before here in Buffalo, right? And I remember games where you're like, oh, yeah, this isn't going to go well. And I felt like that was the case kind of, which was like as soon as that happened, I think the Jets fans were like, yeah, we've been down here before. And then the Bills get the ball, they go down, then they make that stupid penalty, and the Bills score. And really, after the fumble on the next series by the Jets, that's when it was all over. Also, I'll say this, I'll own it. I didn't think the Bills – I said the Bills fans would be there, but they'd be more like dispersed. I mean, there was a large Bills crowd behind the Bills bench, so they were very loud and vocal, and that can really drown out the other team when things start like that.
Right. Quick turnaround here, obviously. I don't know, levels of concern about injuries. Milano, I think, is probably at the top of the heap, if not the guys that already missed this game to begin with, like Oliver or Taron Johnson. But Milano's new, and that's not a new injury, right? He had a pec, I think, a few years ago that caused him to miss some time. Yeah,
for sure. So the guys that already missed, we know that already, and we know Ed Oliver's most likely not going to play in this game. It was described as a multiple week injury by like Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. Even though Sean McDermott hasn't confirmed he isn't playing Thursday, I wouldn't expect that at this point. Taron Johnson is limited today, so that's good news. A bit of a surprise for me Sunday that he didn't play, but with the quick turnaround, you figure, okay, not the most world-beating passing game, wide receiver-wise. They could play more base defense anyway against that team. Taron Johnson held out, and now he can play on Thursday. Maybe that's where it's trending. We'll see about that. Good news, he's limited today already. Now, they'll have more of like a walkthrough type of practice today. We're not going to be able to watch any of it in the media. Shaq Thompson also limited today, and Cam Lewis limited. He got a little bit banged up at the end. Let's go to Matt Milano. Pec injury. Never what you want to hear, especially with a guy like Matt Milano who's dealt with soft tissue injuries, pec injury, bicep injury before. Sean McDermott said, we'll see where it goes. We don't know what that means yet. It could mean that it could be something that is day-to-day, something that keeps him out a couple of weeks, as you said. That happened to him a couple of years ago. Same thing happened with Terrell Bernard a couple of years ago, if you remember. He had a pec injury that we were all holding our breath, and he actually came back in a couple of weeks. And then maybe even last year, if I remember right. But either way, or it could be something more severe. And if you're talking about surgery on a pec, then it's pretty much done, right? But no alarm bells yet. Concern, certainly, but let's see where it goes.
How did you think the guys, the rookie tackles, we talked a good amount about them last week. I kept pointing out how Sanders was on the field for 16 plays. 4 of them were Baltimore touchdowns. Walker was not much better than that. But, with Oliver out, they didn't play a lot more than they did last week, as it turned out, because simply the defense didn't have to play as much as they played last week. But how did you think the kid tackles did yesterday?
I thought the biggest thing for me, Bulldog, was they just did their job, right? Like, and I'm not saying they tried to overdo last week, but I think sometimes you get caught up in a team like Baltimore and the way they're running the ball on you. You're trying to make a stop. You're trying to make plays. That gets you undisciplined. That gets you out of your gap. And then you just start to do things that really impact everybody else around you. You know what it was in this game? I just thought they did their job. They stayed home. They plugged their gaps. They allowed everybody else to do their job a lot better. I mean, such a turnaround for this game compared to last week overall. So I thought that they played well from that standpoint. It wasn't like they did anything special, but they don't need to do anything special. What they need to do is their job. And if they do their job, that helps everybody around them, which is Joey Bosa and Matt Milano. He made a couple plays before he went out, and Terrell Bernard and everybody in the secondary. And that's what I liked about their game.
For very different reasons in different ways, again, the Bills dominated the play totals for this game, 75 to 47. The Jets only ran 47 plays. Defense got right off the field. Last week, they also got right off the field because Baltimore was scoring so fast. It was 85 to 51. So in 2 weeks, the Bills have run 160 plays, and their opponents have run 98, which is pretty incredible, Sal.
It is, and you're right. What's cool about this game is such a difference from last game, like you said, Mike, because it was such a wild affair back and forth. The Bills had to come back. They had to run so many plays. They had to do it in a different manner. This was, I think it's amazing. The Buffalo Bills scored 30 points, and Josh Allen didn't account for one of them. He didn't throw a touchdown pass. He didn't run a touchdown, and they still scored 30 points. That just shows how they can beat you in so many ways. It really does. It helps getting a turnover, and they did that again. They now have the longest streak in NFL history since in the Super Bowl era, I believe, of actually winning or not losing the turnover battle in a game. Like, those things help as well. So this was a very, very, I'm going to say, boring type of win in the positive, boring way, because it always sounds weird to say that. The Bills will take boring wins because that just means they go out and do their job, and the other team isn't really a threat.
I'd like to hear you on Bosa, Sal, because we all know, when he was signed, what the potential for this player could be if he could stay healthy and stay on the field. It's hard for me to imagine it going better than it's going so far. I just think he looks fantastic. Very disgraced. He's forced 3 fumbles in 2 games. He's in the backfield. He's winning. He's winning matchups that T.J. Watt had a tough time winning last week. Just really impressed. And I think all around, he's far from a liability when he's on the field if they run the ball, it looks to me.
I'm going to say that Joey Bosa, watching him play now and really getting a chance. He's out in L.A. his career, right? San Diego and L.A., and you know how good he is. And he's out on the West Coast. He's not always on your television. And now he's right in front of your face. And I'm watching him every day. Holy cow, this guy is good. I mean, like, he is a legitimate elite difference maker on the defensive side of the ball. Do you remember last year in the offseason, right at the end of the offseason, when Brandon Beane talked about, like, well, you'd love to have guys like Chris Jones. They're difference makers, right? He mentioned his name, and like, that's Joey Bosa. That's what he is. He is a legit elite defender at a critical position. And watching him work and how good he can be and what he can do to change a game, to change plays, to dominate at times, it's just incredible. If the Buffalo Bills get that Joey Bosa that they got yesterday for 17 games, if they get a healthy Joey Bosa, he literally, I don't want to overstate it, but I'm going to say it. He could be the difference between them winning a playoff game or winning a championship game. I mean, that's how good Joey Bosa is. I mean, I am incredibly impressed watching him. And on top of that, I think what really helps, he is having so much fun, guys. He is having so much fun. When he had that second strip yesterday, he ran off he was about 10 yards off the sideline, and he just stopped. He wouldn't even go to the sideline. He was just hooting it up and hollering with everybody. They were having a great time with him. Then he went to the sidelines, and he was like showing Marcus West, D-line coach, what he was doing, like replicating a move. He was showing, I think it was Cedric Van Pran Granger or one of the other O-linemen, like what he was doing. He was having so much fun. And in the locker room, I say to him, I said, I've never seen a 10-year vet have as much fun as you at a game in the fourth quarter making a play like that. And he just looks, and he's so deadpan. And I say this because this is his personality. And he goes, oh, backhanded compliment, you're calling me old, right? I mean, like, because he's just so he's engaging. And by the way, he just turned 30. Like, he's been in the league 10 years. He was 29 just a few months ago.
Hear that, Bulldog? 30. Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. Sal, the Bills on offense yesterday. I don't want to say. I want to ask a question about the defense too, but in terms of the offense, it was just coming so easy for Cook and the running game. I mean, yes, you said already what you said about Allen and his lack of production, I mean, which is kind of shocking for him. But, I mean, Cook must have – he was downfield several yards before he was even touched in this game, frequently. And, the offensive line is nothing new. We've been over it, how good and consistent they've been and durable as well. But especially on the right side, I thought yesterday, the Jets were just no match for Torrance and Brown and really the whole unit. And once you get rolling, the game starts going downhill for you. Then it just, I think, gets easier. But really, this was the rare Bills game, I would say, they didn't need Allen to win.
Yeah, this is a game where I want to credit coaching a lot because I thought on the defensive side, everything they talked about and preached really came to fruition. They did a great job of turning everything around and having answers and corrections for what happened. And you got to give Bobby Babich a lot of credit for that on the defensive side, and I think Ryan Nielsen as well. On the offensive side, I'm going to say the same thing about Aaron Cromer. Not that they had to correct necessarily, but Aaron Cromer is just really good at his job. And he understands and finds ways to get certain players, and everybody's a little bit different, and Eric Wood has talked about this. Like, it's not one size fit all. It's what works for you. And the Bills have a really, really unique type of running game because they have all these different guys that can do different things and certain athletic attributes and certain sizes. And they really play to that. And I love when I watch James Cook get the ball and run behind those guys, as you're saying, on the right-hand side. They're athletic, and they're big guys, and they're athletic. And that's Spencer Brown and Osiris Torrance. And when James Cook has that cutback, like that cutback run that the Bills are kind of known for with James Cook, like he had on the touchdown. Now, in the touchdown run, somebody has him by the ankle, and he jumps out of it, and he's off balance, and he still keeps his balance, and he takes it to the house, right? And then there's a couple other runs where he has that cutback, and that's where you say, Mike, he doesn't get touched until he's 3-4 yards down the field because of that. But part of the reason for me is, on top of that, I would say I have not seen a running back with that kind of vision since LaShawn McCoy here. And meaning LaShawn was like one of the only guys, like one of the top guys with a vision I've ever seen. Like LaShawn McCoy could see a guy coming out of his ear hole, right? And like it seems like James Cook has that same ability and trait. That is a very, very unique and rare trait for a running back. But when you have it with the balance that a guy like LaShawn had and a guy like James Cook has, that's when you're really dangerous.
There was a play in this game where someone else had the kind of vision you're talking about, and that's Allen when Sauce Gardner was bearing down on him. I wonder what, like, we have win probability now in football. I wonder what the sack probability was within 1 second of when Gardner gets to Allen. On one hand, like, he's got a clean look, and you might think anybody in that situation is 50-50 or better to get the sack. On the other, we've seen Allen so many times. He's got such the size advantage there. I mean, the defensive player doesn't want to look bad. He doesn't want to just sort of get to Allen and wrap him up around the waist and just stand there and not let go like I might do. Right? Like I'm trying to, get on SportsCenter here, right? But Allen just senses Gardner, as we've seen him do so many times, that great trait great quarterbacks have, where it really didn't maybe even seem like it was really much of a threat.
Yeah, and Gardner, poor Gardner. Allen spins away from him, and the field level replay they showed of that, Gardner is like on all fours sliding away from Allen. Like he's just so dead on the play that he's sliding on all fours away, just looking at him like, nope, I guess not today.
Yeah. So on that play, at the very end of that play, I'm standing right there where Josh runs out of bounds. So if you can imagine my vantage point, right? I'm watching Gardner come off the edge right at Allen. I see Josh's back. I see the 17, and I'm thinking the same thing. Like, oh, geez, free rusher, and like I didn't see Josh see him. He totally just felt him. Like he could feel it, as you said, Mike. He sensed it, right? That is something that you can't really teach. It's just, I think, it comes from being a quarterback your whole life. It's understanding. You get that sense when people are around you. It's really just kind of uncanny a little bit. And then so he sees that and he spins that way. Now, it's one thing to sense him. It's another thing to kind of spin the right way and not run into him or go forward. And he spins away. Then he runs towards where I am right there, and he's kind of hemmed in. And he just looked at the two guys like, yeah, I'll just step out of bounds now. I got my yardage here, right? Which is kind of interesting. But Josh, it's funny because I'm watching the Cardinals and Panthers on the plane ride back, and the one thing I noticed about Bryce Young, like he has no pocket presence right now, right? Like they had a chance late in the game, and I'm watching Bryce Young. I'm going, dude, throw the ball. What are you doing? Move up here, and he has no pocket presence, and it really does separate a lot of quarterbacks, the elite quarterbacks. Yeah, you have to have a lot of other traits, but that is one trait that a lot of elite quarterbacks have.
This was Tua at the end of their loss yesterday. Their last two plays from scrimmage, down 6 with a minute to go. It's 3rd and long. He ends up running out of bounds. And then it's 4th and 11. He gets sacked immediately. That play, that was from his front, if I remember right. But Bosa in this game, I saw Hendrickson get Trevor Lawrence from the blind side. Myles Garrett on Burrow last week. Like, you see the free rusher, especially if it's like the elite sack guys, Parsons or one of these guys, and like you sort of maybe say a prayer for the quarterback as you see who's coming and he doesn't. But when it's Allen or Lamar Jackson or somebody like that, they just get out. I mean, Allen's sack rate is so low. Interesting, Jordan Love is like the best over the last couple of years for this. But Allen, Jackson, these guys are just – the sacks they take are on scrambles. where
Right.
they get out of the pocket and they end up running out of bounds for like a 2-yard loss or something, but it's a pass play, so that goes down as a sack. Rare as these are for them.
Yeah, and then when you get a play like early in the game, Josh feels some pressure. And, one of the things you could say about Josh still is sometimes he bails a little bit too early because he knows he can run a little bit, right? So, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm just going to go. And then you get that 40-yard run. And then you also get the time where he falls down and obviously, busts his nose up.
Yeah, how was that for you yesterday? I will say, like, as soon as he starts coming off the field, like, nose. There's nothing poked in the eye, maybe, but there's nothing else.
I thought maybe he got a pellet from the field in his eye, is what my first guess was.
And he described it. He described it well, Sal. Like I probably should have stayed down, but I'm bleeding. I got to get help.
Yeah, all right, by you guys. That's all right. I'm glad you guys noticed it before I did. I actually thought head injury originally because the way he hit, and when he came up and took his helmet up. Actually, the first thing I thought of was something happened in his helmet. He had to adjust it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's on the ground. He runs off the field. You rarely see that. Like, a lot of times you'll see a guy run off with his helmet, and he gets another helmet from you're like, oh, give me my helmet. Something happened to the helmet. I thought it was an equipment issue very quickly, and then he goes and he runs off the sideline. He stays there. I'm like, uh-oh, head injury. I'm thinking head injury right away. Like, did he get groggy? And he's just like, oh, my God, I better get off the field. And he wanted to make sure and didn't know where he was. And then you see they're working on, and from my vantage point up in the press box, which, by the way, the radio booth at the Jets Stadium is behind the Bills bench, whereas normally it's on the visitors. It's on the home side, but the way it works there. So even Brownie and Eric were looking, but it's on their side. It's also on my side, so I can't see the front. Maybe on camera you could. I couldn't, so I couldn't tell if they were looking at the eye or the cheek. And that's the other thing, Bulldog. I thought he got a pellet in the eye or he got poked in the eye. And then after a while, you're like, wait a minute, they got gloves on. This isn't a head injury. They're looking at the nose. And then I saw them getting a jersey ready. And that's when I knew, okay, he's got to be bleeding from the nose.
Yeah, he ran off the field too fast, for him to be concussed, I thought. But we're all guessing in that moment. One more just quick for me. Elijah Moore is mattering.
Elijah Moore was very, very happy about scoring against his former team. He is starting to matter. He's being used in the way that they envision Curtis Samuel, guys. Let's be honest, right? I mean, that's kind of what they like. Give him some runs, throw the ball to him. And Curtis Samuel has been inactive here. So, right now, Elijah Moore is kind of a guy that's really starting to fit into the offense, and it's not down the field and all these big plays, but he's mattering, as you said, because they're giving it to him in different ways. And look, it doesn't go unnoticed, too. He gets the first jet sweep. First play of the game, gets the jet sweep. Later, they run that same concept. They fake it to him, and they have a nice run. That matters, right? When you can execute it to start, then you show it, and now the team has to think about it. And then later they go back to it. Now the Jets don't know what to think, and he scores the touchdown.
And Kincaid did a nice job there. I mean, it's a corner he's blocking, but he just cleared that guy right out of there for him and let Moore just
Bulldog, Dalton Kincaid's blocking has been great through 2 weeks.
Yep.
I mean, it's not every play. They're not asking him to do it, but he's been in on a couple really big plays where he's blocked and done a good job.
Forgive me if this is redundant, but I missed the inactives and everything, that window, before the game. Is there any injury with Samuel? He wasn't on the report, right? This is just healthy scratch?
Healthy scratch. Okay. So, hey, I mean, right now it's a numbers game, and the Bills are rolling with the guys they have right now, and we'll see if they change anything up on Thursday. As of right now, I would suspect they wouldn't do that. Last
thing for you real quick here, Sal. The safeties. We talked so much about the safeties last week. Even in a winning effort, there was not much at all to like. There was a lot, frankly, to dislike about both Rapp and Bishop in different areas. Much better. I mean, it stands to reason they gave up 150 yards or whatever in this game. But Bishop especially, I thought, made some plays yesterday.
No doubt. Sean talked about them just a little while ago, and what he said was they had a different look in their eye. He said their week of practice, they were very dialed in, and they had a different look. And you know what I loved about it? We talked about this after the game on Sunday last week against the Ravens. What really, I think, hurt them, too, was the Ravens did a good job of quick snapping, not allowing them to have recognition and communication. That was on point. They saw what they saw as soon as they did it. Bam. Now, look, it's a lesser loud stadium. It's not as loud. So the communication piece can be a little bit easier, but they come out of the huddle, they see it, they recognize it, they communicate, they're in position. That is such a big benefit to a young safety like Cole Bishop, especially when you need the time on task. There's a third safety I want to mention because he plays safety normally, is his position, but he doesn't play safety. That is Sam Franklin. Sam Franklin was a difference maker on special teams. I mean, the Bills used to have a Tywan Jones, a Saran Neal, a Tyler Medikevich. They have these guys just for special teams. That was their number one thing, and then they were backups elsewhere. Now they have backups who play special teams, and then they sign this guy. He had 3 tackles on kickoffs, including 2 solo tackles. I mean, like, that is a difference-making type of player in that phase of the game, considering, by the way, that now pretty much 90% of kicks are returned, and you need that.
Yeah, that's been true. All right, Sal, welcome back. Tomorrow's a practice day, right? So no days off here this week?
No days off. Tomorrow is a practice day. I'm still down here. We're gonna hear from
right, today is
Bobby Babich and Joe Brady in a little while here, and then we're gonna be in a locker room and talk to players as well. But we won't be on practice field watching. They'll do like a walkthrough, but then tomorrow will be a regular practice for everybody.
Interesting. Alan said at the press conference yesterday that they wouldn't normally watch the film of a game like this when they play on Thursday coming up. And I'm guessing that would probably be true here because the game went so well. But I didn't realize that. I feel like there's probably always time to watch the film. But he said yesterday that that's not something they would normally do when they have a game coming up on a short week. So, all right. Thank you, Sal.
I would just say this. I think a lot of times it's more like positionally too. Like if there's things they want to break down, but it's not like the full breadth of it. If that matters, you know what I mean?
Yep. All right. Thanks. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thanks.
That's our Sal Capaccio on the way.